Okay, let us go to what we have today. What we have for today, let us look at it, and it's a discussion. Well, it will be a kind of monolithic discussion, sort of. The title is Judgment with Overflow. Judgment with Overflow. Now, I was asking the Spirit to guide me what I should talk about today, or the message to pass on. Day before yesterday, I had a revelation which I will call vision. Why I tag it as vision is that it has happened 3 times. One was about 7 years ago. I was somewhere doing something like praying, or meditation. All of a sudden, I saw the atmosphere changed. Everywhere got changed. It became a bit cloudy, became a bit windy, and I looked up into the sky. The atmosphere changed. What I saw was the rumbling, and that rumbling turned out to be flood, like a sea that was pulled, all the whole seas in the world pulled together, and from one end of the sky it began to roll, somersaulting, rolling down, and nothing on earth was left. It was clearance. As I saw it, I cried, Father, intervene. Father, save. Father, deliver us. The world is finished. This is the end of the world. That was what was coming out from my mouth. I was literally at that stage crying, weeping. Who will deliver us? Who will help us? Who will stop this storm? Who will stop this flood? Who will stop what is engulfing humanity? All of a sudden, I woke up. Behold, it was a dream. About last 2 weeks, I slept. And all of a sudden, there was earthquake, massive earthquake. And what followed that earthquake was storm with overflowing flood. You can describe as tsunami. I began to run. And everybody, as we were running, the thing was swallowing, eating, because we were running like any kind of powerful car you can imagine. Everything that flood was catching up with was swallowed. A little while, the quake stopped, but the flood continued. That continued until I woke up. I told my wife that experience. I tried to look at what it was about. My spirit met with what I narrated happened about 7 years ago. The same thing. And just day before yesterday, similar thing happened. Where I was, I looked at the environment. Everything changed. And all of a sudden, there was uncontrollable flood sweeping everywhere. I said, this thing is getting out of hand, if I will say. This is no longer ordinary. And I begin to ask the Spirit to help me, guide me into what is going on. Now, I had to go through some biblical tests as the Spirit will lead me. The issue that I just described, or the issues about the flood, is not just water gushing out from the surface of the earth, or the oceans combining, or seas combining, and all the waters coming together and want to swallow every human being. They are given as a scenario of judgment that is on board. That judgment can come in different ways. But there are three ways whereby Yahweh says he's going to confront Israel and he's going to confront the rest of humanity. One, with sword. Sword is war. Two, pestilences and diseases. The signs of all diseases are obvious. Number three, famine. And that can produce even flood, fire, drought, hunger, starvation, and the death. Then I had to look into the scriptures. Isaiah 24, 1 to 6. That will be the text you're going to use in all this. Deuteronomy 28, 47 to 68. Ezekiel 5, 5 to 17. Deuteronomy 28, 47 to 68. Revelation chapter 13. Revelation 14, 9 to 12. Revelation 19, 1 to 20. Now, having narrated the experience about the flood, I began to read all these Bible portions. Two things were paramount. Two things. Mankind literally separated themselves from their Creator. Mankind never paid heed to the word of Yahweh. As a result, Yahweh's wrath, Yahweh's anger, Yahweh's vexation is going to be poured upon the earth. And that is the floods we are seeing. Now, this issue of disobedience against the word of Yahweh is not something that started today. It started from Genesis. It started with Adam and Eve, to the time of Noah, to the time of Abraham, to the time of Israelites in Egypt, David, even to the time Yeshua came, up to the time Yahweh began to warn them, Israel, you are my choice. Israel, you are my firstborn. Israel, you are my own. Of all the people of the world, I have chosen you to be my firstborn, my first fruit. Through you, the whole earth will be restored back to normalcy, back to righteousness, back to Yahweh himself. Through Israel, whom he promised to give a land as a nation from where he would train them to align to himself, to his word, to live righteous life and to showcase his righteousness to the world, then he also promised them seed. Now, that seed, who later also came, who we call Messiah, who become the Savior of mankind, he said this Savior will save Israel from their rebellion, because they already knew that Israel is going to fall. Israel is going to rebel. Israel is not going to answer what he called them, first fruit, first born. When he was trying to deliver them from the hands of Pharaoh, he told Moses, go and tell Pharaoh, release my firstborn, release my first fruit. If you kill my firstborn, I'm going to kill all your firstborn. Pharaoh refused. Yahweh killed all his firstborn and delivered Israel. Put Israel in the land. He said, Israel, this is the land I promised you. This is the kingdom. This is the nation. From here, you will spread abroad as promised to Abraham. Because told Abraham, Abraham, I will make you great. I will make your name great. And through you, the whole world will be blessed. And that will be done through your seeds. In fact, he used the word, Yahweh used the word single seed. And that was the children of Abraham, quite all right, but he was looking at Yeshua Messiah. So Yeshua Messiah was born. When he came to deliver them, because they failed, they disobeyed the whole agreement, the whole covenant he made with them was to keep his word. Abide in my word. Israel refused to abide in the word of Yahweh. Number one word in the covenant, in the commandment, in the agreement is keep my name, praise me in my name, worship me in my name, honor me in my name, bless in my name. Do everything you do with me in my name. Do not take my name in vain. Do not worship another idol or gods. Don't worship gods of the world. By the way, gods are fallen angels. And Yahweh created them. So don't pay homage to them. Don't worship them. Satan is their head. And Satan will lure you into destruction, into disaster, if you do. Don't go by his name or his title. Satan gave them so many names which they borrow from different nations. All the way from Babylon, they took Baal, which the Canaanites, the Amorites, called Elohim. That was the Sumerians, the name they were using. So that Elohim became a name or title that was common amongst those Gentiles. When they were returning from Egypt, he said, do not corrupt yourself in their midst, amongst them. Now, it was also called Baal, the Lord. They later tuned it down to Adonai and later to Jehovah. All these are called the Lord. The Lord is still there today in all English Bible. Now, when Yeshua came, the very seed that was to deliver them, to redirect them to Yahweh, they disagreed with him on the word that was written in the covenant book. They disagreed with him because by that time they had taken the Gentile religion. When they returned from Babylon, they came back with Judaism. So they maintained the Lord, they maintained Jehovah, they maintained the Lord, they maintained God, which Yahweh said he doesn't belong, he's not part of that fallen angel family called God. And Yahweh said we should not make mention of such names in our mouth. He said we will not share his name or his praise or his glory with them. No. And he said we should not indulge in such a thing, or else we will profane his name, we will blaspheme his name, we will make his name vain, and we will not be part of him again. So when the Israelites failed, Yeshua came. He tried everything to return them, to bring them back. No way. Then he had to leave. They ascended into heaven because they killed him. That was the design of Yahweh anyway, so that through his death, Israel shall be saved. The blood of Yeshua that will be spilled on the surface of the earth. And the giving out of his spirit, Israelites shall have the spirit, the fruit of the spirit, to do what? To strengthen them, to empower them, to equip them, to obey, to return to obedience. Yahweh has done all that he could do. But up to now, it's like the work was not done. It's even worse. Where is Israel today? The entire 2 tribes are all over the world. So we have Yahweh, our Father, who has been rejected. We have Yeshua, the seed, the Messiah, who has been rejected. So who is to deliver us? His Spirit is with us in this latter age. But do we know he is with us? Do we walk with him? Do we relate with him? That's a different thing altogether. But now, Yahweh is saying, as we read in the book of Ezekiel, that he is going to treat Israel as they treated him. Now, let us look at it in this position. One has a vineyard, big vineyard. Now, in that vineyard, which he bought by himself, he owned, he has all the documentation for it. It is his own. And he hired people. He brought in people. Whether he hired them or he recruited them or however he called them in. Say, okay, into this land, occupy it, till it, work on it, grow your food, eat from it, but I will be having product of it. That is, as you work in it and you make gain out of what you do, please keep whatever you are making out of it. Just enjoy yourself the way you want to enjoy yourself. But let me have my own portion. And keep the land until I return. Now, the people that were invited or were recruited took the land. And they said the land becomes, it's their own. They claimed it to be their own. And at the end of the day, they said nobody will enter. Not even the one, the father that handed the land to them to be a tiller of the land will come into the land. The father tried to send messages through his messengers, through his servants, through his prophets, until he sent his son. All of them were driven away or killed, including the son. The son was killed. And in that case, like Yeshua gave a similar scenario. So what would we think the owner of the land will do eventually when he comes by himself? Is it not judgment? He will destroy them. He will wipe them away. So that is what we see in the flood experience and narrated. Yahweh is saying, I have had enough. I have hidden my face from Israel for so long a time. I have hidden my face from the world for so long a time. It's time for me now to return and deal with them and take over my land. That is the judgment. So that is the title, that there is judgment coming that will come with overflowing. The judgment will be a judgment that will massively come like tsunami upon the earth. The book of Ezekiel and book of Lamentation said it hasn't happened before in the earth. And Israel has not experienced what is coming in the measure that Yahweh want to launch it out upon them, the wicked. Those that will be crushed, those that will be destroyed are called the wicked because they rebel against his instruction. His instruction is documented in what is called the covenant. The covenant is made out of what he called the Torah. Instruction. Torah is instruction. The first 5 books of the Bible is called instruction. That is what is called the law, which Christianity said it's been cancelled. The law is being cancelled or nailed to the tree or to the cross, which is fallacy, which is the word of Satan, the master which they are paying attention, they are taking heed of all he's saying, that counters the word of Yahweh. So, the commandments, the word, the law of Yahweh hasn't been cancelled. The covenant is still there. Yahweh is still expecting that we return back to the covenant. We return back to serve him, to worship him, to honor him, to obey him. Clearly listen to his instruction and keep his land. But we refuse. So judgment is coming. Now, there's a question that I have posed here. Why is calamity coming with such overflow? Is it because of climate change? What we hear today is climate change, climate change. But we know that climate change is not issue of overpopulation of the world, as they're telling us, because human beings are too many in the world. They have to reduce the number of human beings because the activities of human beings is changing everything. It's causing the climate to change, particularly the ozone layer that is depleting, particularly so much fossil gases and all those that are, emitted into the air that is destroying the atmosphere. Now, it's not about overpopulation of human beings. Yahweh says in Genesis, increase, multiply, inhabit the earth. So it didn't say at a particular point, stop increasing. No, it said increase. The earth is huge. The earth is big. Even the earth is just at 30%, according to science, 30% of the entire earth. 70% is water. But if the human beings are pulling on the side of righteousness, walking the righteous way of Yahweh, Yahweh will give them space, will create more space. The water, he will cause the water to shrink so that there will be extra land. But not that the human beings are lacking lands. No. Then why are they saying it's human population, overpopulation of human beings that is causing the change because of their activities? No. The Bible is going to tell us what the trouble is. Is it because of too many people on earth, which is still to say human overpopulation? No. Is it because of human rebellion against the Creator? I think that is the answer. Yes. Human rebellion. Human disobedience. Human beings not paying attention to the covenant. Human beings not paying attention to his word written in the covenant that he made with his people. Let's hear Isaiah. Isaiah talk about impending judgment on the earth. Isaiah 24, 1-6. Isaiah 24, 1 to 6. Behold, Yahweh makes the earth empty and makes it waste, distorts its surface, and scatters abroad its inhabitants. And it shall be, as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servants, so with the master, as with the maid, so with the mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the creditor, so with the debtor. The land, that is Israel's land at that time, shall be entirely emptied and utterly plundered. Yes, that prophecy came to pass. That is for Israel. Let us listen to him. For Yahweh has spoken this word. It came to pass. At this particular point, all of them, whether they are priests, whether they are servants, whether they are master, whether they are mistress, whether they are maids, whether they are seller, whether they are buyer, whether they are lenders, whether they are borrowers, whether they are creditors, whether they are debtors, all of them were dealt with. Majority of them died. The remnants were scattered all over the world. That was Israel then. Verse 4. Isaiah 24, verse 4. The 8 months, now this is the word. The 8 months, because Yahweh is going to not only judge Israel, but the whole, now Israelites are in the whole earth, in the whole world. The 8 months and face away. The world languish and face away. The hidden people of the earth languishes. The earth is also defiled under its inhabitants because they have transgressed their laws. Did you hear that? Transgression is breaking of Yahweh's word, breaking of Yahweh's law. That is transgression. They have changed the ordinance. They have broken the everlasting covenant. 6. Therefore, the curse has devoured the earth. This is what is causing the devastation. This is what is causing the trouble. This is what is causing the calamity. Breaking of Yahweh's law. Breaking of Yahweh's covenant. Saying no to Yahweh's ordinances. Changing them. They change Sabbath to Sunday. They change Passover to Easter. They change his feast like Tabernacle to Christmas. They change all his feasts to Gentile feasts. They change his name to Lord, God, Jehovah, and so on. They change the name of the son, the seed, from Yeshua to Jesus. That is Israel. And in other religions, they have these different titles for him, which he warned them never, ever indulge in such a thing. Because once you do it, not only will you make the name of Yahweh vain, not will you pollute yourself and pollute the earth, you will corrupt the earth and you will devastate the earth. The sin of humanity is destroying the earth. Therefore, the curse has devoured the earth, and those who dwell in it are desolate. Therefore, the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men are left. So this is why, at the end, everything will come to higgledy-piggledy. Everything will come to near nothingness. Only few human beings will be left. The cause of world destruction is not as a result of climate change. It's not as a result of too many people or overpopulation of the earth. Yahweh commanded to increase and populate the earth. That was the instruction he gave to Adam and Eve. So it's not overpopulation of the earth that is causing the current climate change they are singing about. They're not talking about or looking at rebellion they have against Yahweh. The disobedience against his instruction. That is what is polluting the earth. That is what is causing weather changes, climate changes. Why is blood of human beings littered on the ground every day? The earth. Human beings came from the earth, from the dust of the earth. Yahweh said, do not spill blood of your fellow human being. If you do that, Not only are you destroying yourself, you are destroying the earth. All manner of abomination is being caused. Covetousness, stealing, lying against human beings. The name of Yahweh has been castigated. No single of his word is kept. So how would they think the world will be as it were when it was created? There will be changes. Changes that will lead to human catastrophe, human disaster. Judgment upon the earth is because of breaking the everlasting covenant. The very word of Yahweh thrown to the mud, discarded, abandoned, and rejected will be the cause of human and earth's calamity in no distant time. The book of covenant records the coming punishment of rebellious mankind as never seen or happened in the history of humanity. Judgment will first begin with all the people in Jerusalem and followed with Israel scattered all over the world. This judgment is Israel's great tribulation. The judgment that is being talked about is Israel's great tribulation. It showcases trial or test of their faith to Yahweh. The tools of judgment in this trial or test include, among others, 1. Sword. 2. Pestilences and diseases. 3. Famine, which may include flood, fire, drought, hunger, starvation, death, and so on. All these are tools Yahweh told Israel he is going to use to fight them and the world that do not know him. This is his world. He created it. And he's coming back to say, I want to repossess my earth, the world I created. And everybody will have to give account of his deed. The works that we have been doing in this world. All our jolly, all our earning and gains, all our doings will all come into account. We have to account to the owner. So we will account to him what he sent us to do. We don't own ourselves. We didn't create ourselves. We didn't make ourselves. Then why have we turned around to tell our Creator, go and sit down? We are in charge. In charge of who? In charge of what? He is coming with serious wrath. Immediately after the trial or test, that is great tribulation of Israel, which will flow across all human race, Yahweh's 1 year woes or wrath will commence against Satan and his gods, that is, fallen angels, and wicked men and women who connive with him to destroy Israel. These wicked people caused Israel to take the mark of the beast and to worship Satan. Revelation 13, 1-4. Verses 11 to 18. Revelation chapter 11, 18. Revelation 14, 10 to 11. He stated clearly that those that are destroying the earth, including those that worship Satan, they will be destroyed. Yahweh will execute judgment upon Satan, imprison him for 1,000 years. The beast, that is man of sin, and the false prophet, and all the leaders, the kings, the globalists, false pastors, false teachers that destroy the earth, as we read in Revelation 11 verse 18, will be destroyed by the coming Yeshua Messiah. We read that in Revelation chapter 19, 11 to 21. Finally, at the end of all these troubles, only few men will remain. The remnant Israel will inhabit their land, not jet into heaven, as we are told that there will be rapture, and some will be jetted into heaven. And Yeshua will reign from then on over them and the entire earth. Isaiah chapter 2, 1-4. Isaiah chapter 9, 6 to 7, Daniel 2, 44, Daniel 7, 26 to 27. We don't have much time to read them. If you can listen and read them yourself, they are talking about Yahshua coming back, Yahshua possessing the earth, Yahshua reigning upon the earth, having his seat or his throne in Jerusalem as the headquarters, and he will rule with the covenant they rejected. He will rule with the agreement, the book of covenant that has in it the law of Yahweh. He will rule the earth with it. Isaiah 9, 6 to 7 talk about Yahshua who will come as he did come the first time. When he came as the son. A son will be born to Israel. The seed that was promised Abraham was born. And he said in the latter time, when he will return the second time, he will be coming to possess that land. From the possession of that land, he will reign or rule as king, the king of kings, the master of the whole universe, the owner. He becomes the owner. He will restore it back to the Father. And he will reign with all the saints that had kept the covenant. Daniel 7, 26 to 27, he said that all the whole powers of the world that had caused Israel to sin, that had held Israel in captivity, shall be cut off, and he will restore Israel back to Israel, back to the people that Yahweh chose as his firstborn. Now, Yahweh made it clear that judgment will be carried out. And the result or the cause of the judgment that is coming is sin, rebellion, disobedience to his word, his commandments. So this judgment is already determined. Ezekiel 5, 5 to 17. Ezekiel 5, 5 to 17. Let's look at it briefly. Thus says sovereign Yahweh, this is Jerusalem. I have set her in the midst of the nations and in the countries all over or all around her. She, that is Israelite, has rebelled against my judgments by doing wickedness. This is the cause of the judgment. They rebelled, they disobeyed the Father that brought them and put them as a nation and asked them to follow his instructions. Israel has rebelled and they are doing wickedness more than the nations and against my statutes more than the countries that are all around her. For they have refused my judgments and they have not walked in my statutes. 7. Therefore, thus says sovereign Yahweh, because you have multiplied disobedience more than the nations that are all around you, have not walked in my statutes, nor kept my judgments, nor even done according to the judgments of the nations that are all around you. Therefore, thus says sovereign Yahweh, indeed, I, even I, am against you, and will execute judgments in your midst in the sight of the nations. And I will do among you what I have never done, and the like of which I will never do again because of all your abominations. Therefore, fathers shall eat their sons in your midst, and sons shall eat their fathers, and I will execute judgments among you, and all of you who remain I will scatter to all the winds. If you doubt what he says here in verse 10, Ezekiel chapter 5, verse 10, that fathers will eat their children and the children will eat their fathers. If you don't read Lamentation, what happened? Yahweh used Babylon to lay siege against Jerusalem, against Judea. And guess what? There was no food. There was no people will go out from the land. And for many weeks, months, people were starving. People were thirsty. People were hungry. People were, in fact, Bible talk, Yeshua talk, Yahweh himself said that he was going to use famine to destroy them. The land was barren. Nothing was coming from the land again. People began to starve. And death began to come. Began to kill them. Apart from those that were killed by the enemies. Then, in order to survive, fathers begin to catch their children and eat. Cook them, boil them, eat. The same, the children were doing to their weak parents, and so on. So that is why you read that in verse 10 there. It was captured in Lamentation 1 to 5. Lamentation chapters 1 to 5. Read it on your own. So that you will know what Yahweh is talking about here. It happened. It's not just history. It wasn't just a threat. It was what Yahweh determined to do, how he will judge his people because of rebellion. Therefore, as I live, says Yahweh, surely, because you have defied my sanctuary with all your detestable things and with all your abominations, therefore I will also diminish you. My eye will not spare, nor will I have any pity. 1/3 of you shall die of the pestilence. Do you know this 1/3 is mentioned even in this later age? It was, Yahweh mentioned that 1/3 of human beings will be wiped out. Human population. Calculate the human population today. Probably maybe 7.5 or going to 8 billion. 1/3 of it will be wiped out. All of at a go. We're going to look at that later. And be consumed with famine in your midst, and 1/3 shall fall by the sword all around you. Yeah. Revelation mentioned this. And I will scatter another third to all the winds, and I will draw out a sword after them. Thus shall my anger be spent, and I will cause my fury to rest upon them, and I will be avenged, and they shall know that I, Yahweh, have spoken it in my zeal, when I have spent my fury upon them. Moreover, I will make you a waste and a reproach among the nations that are all around you, in the sight of all who pass by. So it shall be a reproach, a taunt, a lesson, and an astonishment to the nations that are all around you, when I execute judgments among you in anger and in fury and in furious rebukes. I, Yahweh, have spoken. When I send against them the terrible arrows of famine, which shall be for destruction, which I will send to destroy you, I will increase the famine upon you and cut off your supply of bread. So I will send among you famine and wild beasts, and they will bereave you. Pestilence and blood shall pass through you, and I will bring the sword against you. I, Yahweh, have spoken. If you listen carefully, you will hear repetitively where Yahweh was talking about sword. That is war. War will come upon them. He was talking about pestilences, diseases that will come upon them. He was talking about famine and how that famine is going to come, including them themselves eating their children, because there will be nothing again in the land. Food will be gone. Water will be gone. And Yahweh will distress them. Yahweh will torment them. Yahweh will cause all manner of evil to befall them. Brethren, don't say this was Israel of old. The signs are looming everywhere today. The trouble is everywhere today. We can see that in some countries, even fuel is causing crisis. People are agitating. People are rioting. So all these things are not hearsay. All these things are already happening, but in a small scale. And that is telling us that there are signs, because they are going to increase. It's going to be increasing across nations. There will be chaos all over the world before the beast will emerge. The organizers and those who want to bring the beast and the false prophet in, they will set up the entire world. The whole world will be agog with problems, with difficulties, with lack, inflation, depression, lack of this, lack of that. Yahweh will cause it to happen. Yahweh will use all these globalists. Yahweh will use different kind of human beings to cause all this to happen. That is the wicked. They will carry out all these instructions. Let's listen to Deuteronomy 28, 47 to 68 quickly. What you hear in Deuteronomy 28 stretches from the time of Israel, when they were in their land, the entire Israelites, down to what is happening today, down to tomorrow. Listen up carefully. Because you, Israelites, did not serve Yahweh, your Father, with joy and gladness of heart, for the abundance of everything. Therefore, you shall serve your enemies, whom Yahweh will send against you in hunger, in thirst, in nakedness, and in need of everything. And he will put a yoke of iron on your neck until he has destroyed you. Yahweh will bring a nation against you from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle's flies, as nation whose language you will not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which does not respect the elderly, nor show favor to the young. And they shall eat the increase of your livestock and the produce of your land, until you are destroyed. They shall not leave you grain, or new wine, or oil, or the increase of your cattle, or the offspring of your flock, until they have destroyed you. 52. Deuteronomy 28, 52. They shall besiege you at all your gates, until your high and fortified walls, in which you trust, come down throughout and all your land. And they shall besiege you at all gates, all your gates, and throughout all your land, which Yahweh your Father has given you. You shall eat the fruit of your own body. Did you hear that? This is another eating of their children. They will eat them. The flesh of your sons and your daughters, whom Yahweh your Father has given you, in the siege and the desperate stress in which your enemy shall stress you. The sensitive and the very refined man among you will be hostile towards his brother, towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the rest of his children whom he leaves behind, so that he will not give any of them the flesh of his children whom he will eat, because he has nothing left in the siege and desperate stress in which your enemy shall stress you at all your gates. 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, who would not venture to set the sole of her foot on the ground because of her delicateness and sensitivity, will refuse to the husband of her bosom, and to her son and her daughter, her placenta which comes out from between her feet, and her children whom she bears, for she will eat them secretly for lack of everything in the siege and desperate stress in which your enemy shall distress you at all your gates. This is horrendous. This is eyesore, ear saw, but Yahweh say it will happen. 58. If you do not carefully observe all the ways of this law, are you hearing that? If I, you, all of us, if we will not carefully obey the law that are written in this book, which is the word of Yahweh, today we call it Bible, that you may fear this glorious and awesome name, Yahweh your Father. What are we to fear? This is the beginning of all the crisis, all the trouble. They removed his name. They make his name vain. They took another name, the name of the adversary. He called himself Lord, God, Jehovah, Elohim. At the end of the day, they were brainwashed to follow the title of the enemy. And they discarded, they revered the sacred name, the awesome name of Yahweh, who is our Father. Then Yahweh will bring upon you and your descendants extraordinary plagues, great and prolonged plagues, and serious and prolonged sicknesses. Moreover, he will bring back on you all the diseases of Egypt. What is here is equivalent to what is in Revelation chapter 19. Revelation chapter 9 and Revelation chapter 16 in particular. Because Revelation chapter 19 is talking about, in fact, that is even the wrath of Yahweh, talking about catching the devil, catching the false prophet and the beast, and destroying the false prophet and the beast, and caging the Satan, the adversary. So, what he said here is already what he mapped out in these latter days. Because Revelation is all about, mainly it spoke about the latter days. What Israel will experience in the Gentile world. So here Yahweh is not just writing about the people then, about the patriarchs, about the fathers of old. No, it extends because this is a typological prophecy that is bound to repeat itself again. And it is clear. Revelation chapter 13, Revelation chapter 14, Revelation chapter, if not even from 9, Revelation chapter 16, down to 19, Yahweh set out this agenda. The same thing, so that it will happen. Moreover, he will bring back on you all the diseases of Egypt, of which you were afraid, and they shall cling to you. When they were in Egypt, Yahweh didn't allow those plagues to reach them, to touch them. But they were afraid. Oh, this thing that was happening to Egypt, that was killing Egypt, destroying Egypt, the whole economy of Egypt was destroyed. The political life of Egypt was devastated. The social life of Egypt crumbled and everything went. Both human and animals died like flies. Yahweh said the Israelites were afraid then. It wasn't for them. He didn't attack them. He protected them, though they were afraid. Because when Yahweh is working against one's enemy, in fact, if you are there watching, you will be crying, you will be pleading to Yahweh to save that person. So that was what happened to them. That's what Yahweh is recalling here. And he said, this time, it's not just what happened to Egypt, it's you. You are going to receive it. You are going to be at the receiving end. Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in this book of the law will Yahweh bring upon you until you are destroyed. You shall be left few in number. Recently, COVID-19 was thrown everywhere. That is even a sign, a little sign. Yesterday, I was watching a particular YouTube where Bill Gates came out to say that what happened, COVID-19 that carried on 2021 up to 22, that it was a child's play. But the one they're going to do now, it will shake, in fact, it will not only come to them by surprise, but it will shake the universe. And they will know that something has happened. I heard him saying it. So there's another something that is in the offering that are preparing seriously. Seriously. Yahweh said that he's in charge because he uses all those people. Yahweh uses them. Yahweh uses Satan. Yahweh uses the false prophets, the false teachers, false everything to attack his people who are not hearing. Yahweh is not coming from heaven to do all those fights. He's going to use human beings to achieve the results. Plus the fallen angels. Because he's going to release some of those fallen angels, the gods that are chained, that are in the darkest dark corner of, or the gloomy side of the part of the world. He's going to release them from their captivity. And they are going to come into this world to do what? To carry out war. Real war. Maybe that could be the third world war they are talking about. It's coming. Brethren, it is looming. It is almost, they are doing everything to even start the war. But Yahweh's timetable prevails because the timetable of carrying out whatever that is going to happen is in the hands of Yahweh. He is very careful so that the remnants of Israelites who are obeying will not be wiped out. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. 63. And it shall be that just as Yahweh rejoiced over you to do you good and multiply you, so Yahweh will rejoice over you to destroy you and bring you to nothing. And you shall be plucked from off the land which you go to possess. This was one day we are in the wilderness, going into the land. And when they get into the land, he said, Yahweh's tool of destruction will pursue them. And similar thing awaits them when he will scatter them in the Gentile world. To which now, in this latter days, they are facing the reality. Then, 64, then Yahweh will scatter you among all peoples from one end of the earth to the other. He's done that already. I mean, the Israelites all over to 750 BC. And 2,000 years ago, the balance of Israelites, like the two tribes, we all scattered. Entire Israelites are all over the world, all over. And there you shall serve other gods, fallen angels, you shall serve them, mighty ones, which neither you nor your fathers have known, wood and stone. Because all these fallen angels, the spirits, the forces of darkness, the gods of this earth, they operate through, inanimate objects. Can be wood, can be stone, can be human beings. That's how Satan received glory, because they work for Satan. And among those nations you shall find no rest, nor shall the sole of your foot have a resting place. But there Yahweh will give you a trembling heart. During COVID-19, people had a trembling heart. And while diseases will be launched out, pestilences, famine, the trembling heart they have not seen will land. Because what is to come now may be a combination of sword, pestilences and diseases, and famine. All of them may be combined. Failing eyes and anguish of soul will pursue them. Your life shall hang in doubt before you. You shall fear day and night and have no assurance of life. In the morning you shall say, oh, that it were evening. And at evening you shall say, oh, that it were morning, because of the fear which terrifies your heart, and because of the sight which your eyes see. 68. And Yahweh will take you back to Egypt in ships, by the way of which I said to you, you shall never see it again. And there you shall be offered for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no one will buy you. This is the 8th. In fact, the Israelites all over the world celebrated a kind of relief of their enslavement, the transatlantic slave trade. They celebrated it in 2019. The anniversary of 400 years of transatlantic slave trade, which was predicted. Yes, it was done. Globally, it was celebrated. But then, Yahweh is preparing his people. Because how we know is that Yahweh said he will hid, when all this is happening, he will hid himself. Then, towards the time when he will allow this trouble to come, he will raise his face to listen to them, those who will cry. He said, if they diligently seek him, search for him, cry to him, he will hear them because of the covenant, and he will come to them. To do what? To open their eyes, to guide them, to direct them, to begin to educate them. That is what Yahweh is now. Yahweh is waking up for Israelites, wherever they are. But he hasn't showed up completely. Because by the time Yahweh will show up completely, will be exactly at the hitting of the judgment. When Israelites will go into trial, into test, into great tribulation. Anybody that is not ready for Yahweh, anybody that does not toe the line and follow his covenant way will get it. Then, we are looking at this scenario, great tribulation. We'll be wrapping it up. Maybe next week we look at the wrath of Yahweh. Let us look at the great tribulation here, which Israel is going to suffer. But how are they going to enter into the great tribulation? This great tribulation time is a time of test, a time of trial, a time of difficulties that Israel never seen or never experienced. A time they will be lured completely to abandon the covenant way, never to listen to Yahweh again, and to take the mark of the beast. That's what it's all about. At this particular time, Satan that has been trying to catch up with Israel, trying to bind them, trying to cause them to bow to him and worship him, he will here be succeeding. And many of these Israelites will go into his domain in blindness, in deafness of ears, in searedness of their heart. Because Yahweh called and called and called and called and preached and talked, no way. How one will overcome is one soaking himself in the word of Yahweh. How one will overcome is one listening day and night the word of Yahweh and allow the spirit of Yahweh to continue to open the person's eyes. As we spoke earlier, we talked about, indwelling in the word of Yahweh, allowing the word of Yahweh to remain in the word, so that Satan, who is roaming up and down, will not catch up with the person. Because in this latter days, it's going to be terrible. Satan is going to use all his arsenal. He's going to muster all his energy, all his strength, all his cohorts, all his agents that are going to be on board. In fact, Yahweh said he's going to release some of them who are held in captivity, so that they will catch up with those Israelites that are rebelling. So the great tribulation is about Israel, test of Israel, trial of Israel. Making sure that the rebellious Israelites are crushed. That is what the great tribulation is all about. What about the wrath of Yahweh? When the woes will land. That will be towards the end of the last portion of the 7 years. About a year to the close of the 7 years. Yahweh will release or allow his wrath to be released upon the wicked, upon Satan, upon the false prophet, upon the beasts, and all the bad and wicked people who had walked with Satan and his cohorts. Yahweh will deal with them decisively. Satan will be chained, held in bondage for many, many, many decades. And the false prophet and the beast, they will be killed outright. Yahshua will destroy them while he is coming to deliver the remnant of Israel. That's what Revelation 13 is all about. It's talking about the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast. If you read it clearly, it talks about the beast that rose from the sea. This beast that rose from the sea has 7 heads and 7 horns, and 10 crowns. And he has heads with name, and through all those names he blasphemed Yahweh. And apparently that was name that is spread everywhere that people will love, and people will completely discard the name of Yahweh. Verse 2, Revelation 13. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. The dragon gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world marveled and followed the beast. Now, you can only catch this clearly when you read the book of Daniel, chapter 2. Look at the image. Showed you about 4 empires. Babylon Empire, Medes and Persia Empire, Greeks Empire, Medes and Persia, Greeks Empire. Then the Roman Empire has 2 legs. Then that is the Roman Empire that is divided, the east and the west. Then there are 10 toes. Now the age we are today is within the 10 toes of that Roman Empire that rules the earth. And I and you know where it is situated. Between America and Europe, it is situated. And the other part of the leg, which is the eastern side. And those ones are developing. They are coming up. You talk people like Iraq, Iran, Syria, and so on and so forth. But there is a power that is going to back them up. Don't forget Russia. Don't forget China. So these are the 2 legs. Then they have their toes. So at the end of the whole thing, there will be a kind of coming together of these toes. And they are going to cause massive devastation. They are going to cause the beast to come on board. They are going to produce the beast. In verse 4 says, so they worshipped the dragon. Remember, I said the beast that was cut off in the Roman Empire, that Roman Empire at the time was cut down before the splinter, before the 2 legs come on board and all that. So it will come on board again as a power, but it will come as a little horn. The little horn will be the beast that is going to devastate the earth. Daniel went talking about it in Daniel chapter 7 and chapter 8. In fact, Daniel marveled. Daniel said he fell sick after hearing what Angel Gabriel recalled concerning this power. So it's going to come out of these toes of the little horn. Of the Roman Empire. Then with the little horn in charge, all others that will follow that little horn is going to be also powerful. And they are going to overthrow the earth. Their plan is to, at the end of the day, that is the plan of Satan, is to get out from them a beast and the false prophet. So with the power of the beast is going to do everything that is going to do so that all worship, in fact, both the beast and the false prophet, the whole human beings that are going to be, lured to this power under one world government will be caused to worship Satan. So the whole agenda is to do what? To worship Satan. Look at verse 4 here. It says, Revelation chapter 13, verse 4. So they worshipped the dragon who gave authority to the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Beloved, I want to stop here for today. What we have to take home in all this, put yourself in the position of Yahweh. Put yourself in the position of the owner of the earth. Who owns the earth and everything that is in it? And all of a sudden to the owner, the people that he has to take care of the earth or the vineyard, take it and begin to destroy the vineyard, begin to destroy his earth. What will the owner do? What will Yahweh do? But Yahweh is now warning and saying, if you can listen to my word, if you can pay attention, if you can be obedient, if you can follow my instruction, if you will not join those who are devastating his everlasting covenant, he said he will spare you. He will spare those that are keeping clear from the worldly affair, worldly ways of life, worldly way of living, worldly way of attitude or behavior, and follow his own. Yahweh has his doctrine. Yahweh has his way of life, lifestyle for his children, so that they will remain obedient children he trained them to be. They will remain committed. When we are obedient, things go smoothly. Life goes smoothly. Everything works wonderfully. But when we reject the way of Yahweh and take to the way of the world, disaster, trouble, Satan has no free gift. Then why are we following him? Because he showcases things that look glamorous, but they are not there. It's like mirage. When you are looking at mirage, the more you walk towards the mirage, the more it disappears. The more you can walk miles. You'll be seeing mirage, but you can't even touch it. You can't even near it. That is the kind of gift, Greek gift they call it, Satan is giving to human beings. Even if at the end of the day it reaches their hands, a little while it will disappear, evaporate. Then why is human being pursuing, cannot have time, pay attention to his instruction, have time for him? Yahweh is saying, have time for me, have time for me. The place, the earth you live at the moment is a temporary place because it's been messed up and it's coming to redeem, to reclaim it, to redeem his own people back into this earth. But he's going to make it, he's going to renew it. How prepared are you? How serious are you? Because anybody whose name is not found in his book of life will be cut off, will be silenced. And therefore, Yahweh is saying, do not join them. Do not follow them. Do not do what they do. Abide by his instruction. Follow his commandments. Because not following is the reason the great tribulation is coming. Not following is the reason the wrath of Yahweh will at the end ensue upon all the earth. All we do is to return to him, confessing our sins, repenting with all our heart, diligently seek him, search for his truth, follow his truth. It's all about his truth, and baptizing ourselves in the name of Yeshua, so that the Messiah will forgive us. Yeshua will forgive us. He will reconcile us with the Father, and we will be one with Yeshua, with the Father, and will return to the family to which he is preparing us to be, his own family members. So why are we still shaking head, rejecting him, loving the world, pursuing things of our own? He has given us a gift. The Holy Spirit is only the answer we have in these latter days. Why would somebody pray in these latter days? A split second, the prayer is answered. Somebody is protected. Even when the whole world will want to ambush him, the person will be protected. Why? Because the Spirit of Yahweh is with us. Because the eyes of Yahweh is with us. The hands of Yahweh is covering us. His name is covering us. His name is the strong tower is talked about. And when we run into that name, we are saved. That is what He called us. That is what He's promised us. That is what He's telling us. Come back, return, I will save you. No matter how dilapidated, how polluted, how troublesome the earth will be, I'm going to rescue you. I'm going to redeem you. I'm going to return you back to the land. Let us not continue to resist Him. Let us turn to Him. And He will save us, as He has promised. Our Father in heaven, we thank you, we bless you. We give you all the glory. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your goodness. We thank you for your mercies. We thank you for your word. We thank you because you have not chased us as we misbehave. You have not cast us away completely from yourself. If we are to be human beings, if you were to be human beings as we are, nobody will be living in this earth. Maybe we would have looked for other creatures, other entities to occupy the place of human being. Because we provoke you every day. We annoy you every day. We anger you every day. Our Father, we thank you for loving us. We thank you for your goodness over us. We pray for your guide. We pray for your leading. We pray for your direction. So that all of us that are returning, none of us will go backwards. We will continue to move forward. We continue to lay hands in the plow. Because all they that try to move forward and look back, none of them will be fit for the kingdom. We pray thee, Father, that as many as will be hearing you through this your word, Father, you touch their heart, touch their mind, and quicken them to continue in this journey. Those that have fallen, let them rise again and return to you, Father. Blessed be your holy name. Bless your children that have heard you. Bless the souls that are seeking you. And cause them to hunger and thirst for your righteousness as we seek you to enter into the kingdom. In Yeshua's name we pray. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Amen.
Okay. Is there any query?